started for today. Hi everyone, I'm Linda Reed Aniver, and welcome back to another Business Skills webinar. Today we're being joined by Pam Hird, who is a naturopath and a business owner herself. And I met Pam at the What's On for Kids Awards and had an absolute blast, but also enjoyed talking to her because her approach to business owner burnout is real. It's someone who's walked in those shoes. It's someone who knows what it is. And, you know, I was actually just saying to my husband beforehand, Pam, that, you know, before I got up to present my award, I had a cup of coffee and Pam's response would be, gee, your adrenals must be beep. And I went, yeah, they are, but you know, that's what it is. But you know, that's what had me relate to Pam and went, this is what we want to show our community, that, you know, there is a way of looking after yourself. There is a way to recognize burnout and overcome it without having to completely change your lifestyle in the process. Little things at a time was what I took away from Pam's presentation. And we all had a bit of fun. So Pam, welcome. And I know that's a weird introduction, but it makes you real to everyone. So I don't mind.
That's fine. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about you and your journey.
Yeah, so I am a naturopath, obviously, as you said, a nutritionist and also a personal trainer as well. And funnily enough, when I was studying to become a naturopath, I experienced burnout firsthand, to the point where I was completely exhausted and I really struggled to get out of bed and to function. I was really quite depressed, quite moody. And, you know, I was reaching for coffee and sugar and all of those really high energy foods to help me get through the day as well. And at that time, I went and saw a naturopath as well, who fixed me up just by making some really small changes, to my life and also to my diet. Stop drinking so much coffee.
Oh, no.
You can still have some coffee, provided it's not, causing you any anxiety. But yeah, ever since then, I've been in business now by myself, essentially, for 2 years. But I've been a practicing naturopath for over 10 years. And yeah, I mean, I know obviously as a parent as well that sometimes life can get really crazy and hectic, and you are trying to juggle a few things, and some things will fall by the wayside while that is happening as well.
Yes,
definitely.
That's definite one. I'm just sharing the live stream through to the BBB group at the moment, so please don't think I'm ignoring you. It's just we're making sure that we get everyone into this topic today because it is so important for us as business owners, and especially and I don't want to bring this down to a mums in business topic, but it can be. And I see with the lots of mums in business, and even when I started out in my journey in 10 years ago, the whole mums in business thing about, working till 2-3 a.m. in the morning and that sort of stuff around the kids, and the unsustainable habits that we all put ourselves through because we thought it was the right thing to do at the time.
Yeah, 100%. And, your business is essentially another baby, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
So that's why you're trying to obviously juggle, kids, your business and everything along those lines. But I think even if you don't have kids and, if you're working, full time and then just trying to have a life as well, then sometimes things can get a bit skewed too.
Very much so.
And this is just a picture of me. So back in my day as well, I played hockey for Australia. And this is a picture of me with some teammates in the first time I actually played in that realm as well. So I come from a real sporting background, and I'm a qualified personal trainer as well. And that's what I did prior to being a naturopath. And I actually just got really sick and tired of getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning and going to work. So I changed my life and became a naturopath.
Awesome.
Yeah. And the other thing is as well is I love cheese and I love wine. And I'm all about living too, because what's life if you're really not going to enjoy it to the fullest? So I love to have a glass of wine every now and then and eat some really good cheese. And yes, these are my two beautiful kids, Kai and Jordan, who are 5 and 3, and they keep me on my toes all the time. Yeah. And, obviously naturopath, so pretty much gone through all that already.
Perfect.
So basically what we're going to learn from today is what adrenal fatigue is. And some of you also might know it as burnout, which is quite a general term that is being thrown around a lot these days. So what we'll do as well is we'll identify your own level of adrenal fatigue, the stages of adrenal fatigue, why the gut is so important as well.
Yep.
And also I'll just give you some 5 tips to help you overcome it.
Perfect.
All right, so first thing.
Welcome to ask questions along the way too. I'm watching the live stream from the main business page, not the group. If it's shared to the group, I won't see the comments in there. So just click on the video and ask there. I'm also watching the chat boxes here. So if you do want to ask Pam a question, or you know, as we go through this, if you all got questions about, well, what level am I at? Now's the time to ask.
Definitely.
Really good.
Yeah, so don't wait till the end, because you tend to find that you forget them. So it is better to ask as we're going, 100%. So what is adrenal fatigue? So it's basically just an umbrella term for a group of symptoms when your adrenal glands aren't working the way that they should. So I'll just give you a little bit of anatomy. I haven't got a picture here, which I do apologize, but you think of your adrenal glands, they sit on top of your kidneys. Now, they secrete cortisol, which is your main stress hormone. What happens is when you're stressed, and you don't necessarily have to be stressed, you can be very busy. So you get up in the morning and you just go until you go to bed. Lots of cortisol will be released. Now, this is perfectly a normal response over time. Think of it as like an old school running away from a tiger response, like that real adrenaline hit. And then, you know, what happens is we can't sustain that because our lifestyles are just so crazy busy these days. So it is considered a modern day syndrome because our busy is stressful and
full on,
100%, just so full on. Definitely. So what we'd want to do is identify our own level of adrenal fatigue. Now, this can be done throughout the stages. Normally, I do have a checklist. I'm happy to post that as well. So if you are watching a replay, then you can go back and check, you know, tick off the symptoms that you're experiencing.
We'll load it to the load it so you can download it through the replay on the BBB website later on today.
Yes. And that's just a PDF, so you can just print that off, or you can simply just, you know, go through the mind as well.
Print it off, guys.
Yeah, tick it off.
Yeah. You're more committed if you do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I think it just makes you a little bit more aware as well, because sometimes you don't feel, you think, oh, no, I'm totally okay. And then you start reading through this checklist and you think, oh, damn, I'm not that great.
I watched a room full of people's faces change from I'm perfectly fine to, okay, maybe I actually have to do something about this.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, when you're thinking about adrenal fatigue, you wake up in the morning and you go, oh, far out, I feel so tired. I really need a cup of coffee to help me get going, or you need some other stimulant to, you know, to really start to function and get through your day. And when I ask people, I go, oh, how many coffees do you have? They go, 1. And I go, is it a single shot or is it a triple shot? And some of them go, it's a triple shot. And I said, well, technically that's not one cup of coffee then, is it? Yeah. And we shouldn't, when we wake up in the morning, we shouldn't feel like we need that to help us get going, because cortisol is meant to be the highest in the morning to help wake us up feeling refreshed. But if that's all out of whack, that's when the fatigue can come into play. Or you simply just need a whole bunch of post-it notes just to remember everything that's simply going on in your brain. You know, we always have multiple tabs open, and I always go back to a computer screen and having multiple tabs open and trying to remember everything that is in those tabs, which is not always possible depending on where you're at with your adrenals. Or you're slowly sneaking off to the fridge and trying to get some chocolate or some...
to do when you work at home.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the temptation is much higher. Although, you know, around my work, I do have some really good coffee shops as well with amazing raw treats in.
I must admit that 3 p.m. coffee in the corporate days, God, it was my favourite.
Yeah, and that is one sign that your adrenals are maybe not functioning as well as you should. Because especially in that afternoon slump. But we tend to find that when we're in these stages of adrenal fatigue, then we are craving that high carbohydrate, high sugar coffee, because we want that quick energy boost because we don't have it naturally produced within our body. So we lean towards food.
Millie's just saying sugar with exclamation marks by about 10.
Oh no. What's her sugar of choice though? I mean, everyone's so different, whether it's a
Yeah, Millie, what is that sugar of choice? Come in.
Some people go to fruit, which is a better option, but you know, we don't want to be having 10 pieces of fruit in a day either.
So we got to talk about the good and bad sugar along the way here today.
Yeah, so yeah, we will. We'll have to, when we go into the diet, we can talk about good and bad sugar as well. I'll make a note so I don't forget.
Okay. Which is part of the reason I said it, so we don't forget.
Definitely. Okay, so we're just going to go through the stages of adrenal fatigue.
Lollies and chocolate are Millie's choice of sugar.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But we can make some switches. I'm sure Pam can give you some switches today that'll be helpful.
Oh, yeah, I can definitely give you some tips into what you should try and aim for as well.
Yeah, perfect.
So the first stage is your alarm stage. So this is when the adrenal glands are producing lots of cortisol to try and adapt to that stress or that busyness of the day. And like I said, you know, cortisol is meant to be nice and high in the morning. It'll slowly taper off during the day. And then melatonin will kick in to help put you to sleep. But this is when it starts to kind of go a little bit out of whack. And then, you know, essentially it is a healthy response. This is how we are supposed to respond when we're in a really stressful situation. But the problem is that our lives are just so hectic these days that we find that we are sitting in this stage for some time. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's really different for every individual as well. You might go through these 3 stages really quickly, or you'll find it might take some years. So, you know, it really depends on you as a person. So some symptoms that we would start to see in this stage, particularly around sleep. So we might feel more awake at nighttime. So we really struggle to fall asleep. And throughout the day, we just feel like we're running on adrenaline the whole time. Potentially in the afternoon, we might get that little bit of that slump as well when you go, oh, geez, I really need a coffee right now. You tend to have low immunity. So you might find that you have that sore throat or that runny nose that you just quite can't get over, or you're picking up colds and flus quite easily. And you can also get a little bit of anxiety as well. So you might not get a full-blown panic attack, but you can just feel that anxious feeling. You might get a racing heart or start to get a little bit sweaty, or you might get a headache or something along those lines. Anxiety can present quite differently for different people. And it's really important to note that obviously when we're talking about coffee, if it is creating some anxiety for you, it's really good to assess whether you need it in your life or not. And you might also get some, you know, bloating, a little bit of digestive complaints, some muscle cramping, eye twitching, restless legs. And, you know, for a person, you might get 1 or 2 of these symptoms, or you essentially might get multiple symptoms. So again, it's very individual. So stage 2 is the resistance stage. And this is when your body is learning to adapt to this high cortisol. So essentially you feel really quite wired, but you go, oh man, I'm tired, but I can't quite switch off, or I just feel like that real adrenaline just continuing along there. You experienced that one before?
I've been there. Come on, my last 4 years of my corporate life as a troubleshooter, I'm sure I ran on it. I ran from putting businesses back together to let's do the next one every 3 months, and it was crazy. But you know, I loved it, but it was crazy at the same time.
Yeah. I guess that's where the catch comes in. You really love what you do, but then obviously you're putting your health at risk.
Oh yeah, because the day I resigned and before I got married, by 6 o'clock that night, I had a full-on cold, lost my voice, sinus, the body just broke.
Yeah. And this is the thing that what happens, particularly that, when we do stop, we do tend to notice, we go, oh, wow, we really crash and burn.
Yeah.
Because we are just in this second stage where we're holding it together. We stop. Oh, no, we don't have it together anymore. Everything kind of goes out the window. And so this is where some of your symptoms can start to really get a little bit worse. So, you know, you're moody, you're irritable, you know, particularly when you're driving, you find that a lot of people have that road rage because just lose it because they don't really have that control over their mood. You start to notice some hormone irregularities. So if you're female, your PMS might get really bad, or your period changes, or you're having difficulty, falling pregnant. And in a male, you might, depending on your age, you might get andropause, which is essentially just a male menopause as well. And, with that, you don't necessarily get the hot flushes because the hormone's a little bit different, but that's when your mood concerns can really come into play. You can start to feel depressed, your anxiety's through the roof, your sleep's all over the place as well. You struggle to fall asleep, stay asleep. And you might wake up at 2 a.m. in that morning and think, oh my God, it's 2 a.m. I need to roll over and go back to sleep. But you just can't seem to go back to sleep. And the next thing you know, it's 5 a.m. and you're getting up. You'd have difficulty concentrating, brain fog, your energy is up or down throughout the day. So you might wake up feeling quite tired. By 10 a.m. you feel, okay, I feel really good. I can start my day. And then in the afternoon, you want to be taking a nap. And then at nighttime again, you think, oh, wow, I feel really quite good again. I could, go and punch out some work.
Yes. That's the time not to, though, isn't it? Isn't that that's the time not to go and punch out more work?
No, that's the time we essentially really want to be, winding down, particularly if we want to get a good night's sleep, which we'll go into a little bit later as well.
And Pam, I think I speak to lots of business owners about boundaries in business. And, when I first started, Charlotte was brand new. So my office was in the lounge room. It had no separation from anything. And that, look, most small business owners start like that. They're quite happy to work from the coffee table. They're quite happy to work from the lounge room. That boundary, especially when you run a home-based business, is really, really important, that you don't. And if it's not an office and a spare room like that we have, we both have office spaces, then make sure that you're shutting your laptop and you're putting a piece of material over, or a piece of material over the monitor that actually physically makes you have to open that business. Mm-hmm. So you've got a boundary between you and your business. It's funny how many members and clients I say that to. Yeah. Put a piece of material over that damn computer screen. Yeah. I remember when we learnt family capers, and the Feng Shui lady came in to see me in Brisbane, and her response was, there is nowhere in this house that is just for you. Yeah. We need to get you a you space. Everything was shared with everyone else. Yep, definitely. And I think, and sometimes I still have to catch myself. So I don't think I'm perfect by any means, but with my phone. Oh God, yes. So I get a message through and it's 8:30 at night and I think, oh, I'll just answer that now. But then I go, no, it's not my business hours now. So I'm not going to reply to that. And, and the weekends, if you don't work weekends, making sure that you're like strict with, what, I'm not going to reply to you. And I say that to all of my clients, unless it's an emergency, I'm not going to reply to you. I'm sorry, it's my weekend. I need that time. It's your time off so that you're all good. And I think as business owners, we need to understand that that's so we're good to do the rest of our job. 100%. And if we're available, tip for you, I actually have a device that's got no social on it. Oh, that's a really good idea. It's called my Netflix tablet. All it has is Netflix on it. But when I really need to go and chill out, that is no social media, no nothing. And phones beside the bed, guys. There are alarm clocks out there. It came up for $7. Go buy one of those. You do not need your phone to wake you up. Yeah. I mean, boundaries is a massive one. Absolutely. Because if phone's beside the bed, you will look at it. We're psychologically hardwired to do that. Yeah, but also remembering as well, it's not an ideal social media, which I know lots of people know, and this can actually stress us out even more and make our cortisol go all over the whack, or make us anxious, or make us feel down, because these Instagram influence and stuff, that ain't their life, like their perfect little world. No. So I think it's really important to remember that as well, that they're just human too. Everyone. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So the next stage where we're looking at is that pure exhaustion stage. So, we aren't able to cope anymore, and our adrenals just go, you know what, I'm not going to function the way that I should function, and stop producing a lot of cortisol for us. And
this basically, like, we have sleep. We go to sleep for like 10 hours every night, and we wake up and we think, wow, I am so damn tired, but I just slept all that time that I literally can't function. And then throughout the day, you don't really have any peaks and troughs where you feel good and you don't feel so great. You just literally feel exhausted. And it can be a dragging the feet kind of exhausted, but it's still a little bit different to, say, like an iron deficiency where you are literally dragging your feet throughout the day. You know, any of your symptoms can start to become really, really chronic now. You can notice like that aches and pains start to show up, because cortisol is also an anti-inflammatory. And if we're not producing enough cortisol, there's going to be pain that presents itself as well. It really is. And your hormones are just essentially could be all out of whack too. Not great.
Not great. Not fantastic.
No, not great at all. And, you know, going through this and you looking through and thinking, okay, what kind of stage that I'm at? Please don't hit the exhaustion stage, because I have been there and it's not a nice place to get out of. So this is the reason why we just want to look through our symptoms and try and pick up to where we're at, so we can obviously take change and make some choices that will help us as well.
Yep.
So normally we would have a little bit of a look over your adrenal fatigue checklist. If you are catching the replay, you can do that. Otherwise, we would have had to just take note, and we just want to figure out what stage that we're at the moment. And these symptoms need to be done at where you feel now, not how you felt previously. It's actually in the moment.
Right now. Yep.
Right now. So stress and the gut, we all know that the gut is now the second brain. There's so much research coming out around about our gut. And we have to remember that it's not all about digesting food. It's where we absorb our nutrients. It's where we house our immune system. It's where our happy hormones like serotonin and dopamine are made as well. So if we aren't taking care of our gut, and sometimes you may think it is a different problem essentially than to your gut. So that's why obviously it's good to have a little bit of a check.
Yep.
And if we aren't getting the nutrients we can't make the hormones that we need, or the cofactors to help make that need. We can't support our immune system, our gut function, everything, our heart health, the whole works, all those different systems within our body to the best of our ability. And some of you may have heard of leaky gut as well. So when our gut lining has holes in it, that's the easiest way for me to describe it without a picture. That drives inflammation, autoimmunity, nutrient absorption. This whole works as well. So it's really important that we are making sure that we are taking care of our gut. All right. So what can we do to help ourselves?
Yes. So we haven't scared you to this point to not actually give you some resources, guys.
I don't think that adrenal fatigue is all doom and gloom.
No.
Because it's not. Essentially it's something that we can take ourselves out of as well.
Yep.
And we don't have to make, all these drastic changes of, oh geez, I can't have a glass of wine, or I can't have a cup of coffee. That's not what it's about. It's just, assessing how much we're having, because, we can still overeat in healthy food as well. So we just need to be mindful of that. So the first tip, reduce stress. Now, you may be thinking, okay, that's like literally a no-brainer, right? But when we're talking about stress, we need to basically assess how busy we are, because remembering it's not just, say like a death or a divorce or something along those lines that can actually drive all this for us.
Yep.
It could just be the thinking of the next thing. I've got this, and this, and then I've got to take the kids to sport, and then I have to do this and this. Yep. So we just need to, take a step back and think, oh, okay, what little small changes can I make to not make my day so busy?
Yes.
Or what is that my priorities for that day that I really need to get done, and I'm actually going to sit down and eat lunch away from my desk. Because I know so many of us
eat at our desk.
Eat at our desk, or two, don't eat at all.
Well, exactly.
So, and that's not going to help with your fatigue, because your blood sugar levels are all going over the place.
Yep.
not only that, you know, the mental capacity, our brain needs carbohydrates to function properly. And if we're not giving them that, then it's not going to function the way that it could. And then obviously try and remove any stresses that are, you know, are really not great for your life. Now, I'm not saying, you know, remove husbands or wives or whatever.
Parents or, you know.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes there are things that we think, wow, is that really serving us anymore?
And maybe the extras that we take on quite often so many extras as business owners, as parents, as people in the community. And yes, your community service is great, but it can't come at the detriment of you and your business.
Definitely not. And it's just really simple. No, sorry, I can't do that. You don't even have to explain yourself, because you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. It's just simply, no, sorry, I can't do that.
Guys, I say this when I talk about the boundaries in business side of things as well. As business owners, I get that there are multiple demands in your day. But the only way you're effective at marketing, the only way you're effective at counseling, the only way you're effective at most stuff, and I will tend to walk most of my clients through this system, is let's work out, what day of the week are you doing this? What day of the week are you doing that? Stop trying to grab all the random things at once and fit them all into one day. But put yourself, the only reason we can run 5 businesses and do it is I have a BBB day, I have a media connections day, I have a day for client work. And you know, clients will talk to me, oh, I want to talk to you another day. No, these are my 2 days I talk to clients. These are the spots. And you put those boundaries in place, because otherwise you end up at that exhaustion phase, which is where I have been, trying to manage it all and trying to do all of that sort of stuff. So I get, you know, I've been in the exhaustion phase just like Pam. And that's why I know it's incredibly important not to get there.
Definitely. And, you know, I'm not unrealistic saying that life is never stressful, because, I mean, that's not true. But there are just, you know, simple things that we can do to change in our day-to-day life, like you have said, that we can obviously help reduce that stress for us as well.
And if you're thinking I didn't try and do it all at once when I first started, you're wrong.
Yeah. 100%. I tried to do everything. But
the
now,
phone would ding.
Yeah. But now, obviously, if you are in a position to outsource as well, that can take a lot of stress off you too. And, you know, with outsourcing, I only concentrate on what I'm good at, and I get rid of everything else that I don't like and I'm not good at. I find somebody that does that for me.
Completely love that. I'm going to give our members one tip. If you do nothing else today, turn the notification sound off for your emails coming in and for your Facebook Messenger app. It can wait until you get there.
Yeah.
That will decrease the amount of stress in your life by no means at all. So you don't need to have a ping every time an email comes in. You don't need to have a ping every time a Facebook message comes in, and decrease the amount of notifications that you're getting on your phone. Makes a big difference. I turn them all off, even on the computer. I'm like, I don't care, working now. It took me a long time to get to that point, because the marketer in me was like, oh, email. I must be.
Yeah.
And I took Facebook as new emails.
Oh, yeah. I mean, social media is such a time waster.
Oh, yeah.
Like, at nighttime now, I actually go and put my phone in another room.
Absolutely.
I've seen
people who have phone boxes, and all their family have to put their phone in a box at night. And they all get shut up in this box. It's got a little slidey lid on it. It says, you know, phone detention or something. I don't know what it was, but it was pretty cool. Yeah.
And, you know, remembering as well that reducing stress, that human to human interaction and laughing does that for us.
Yes.
Like we just live in a world where there's so much high technology, and yes, it is amazing and it has its purpose, but conversation and connecting with other people helps us reduce our stress.
Yes.
Do you know when you go out to dinner and you see all those people just on their phones and they're not actually talking to each other?
I know.
I'm like, what's the purpose of this? Like, you actually come to, you know, talk to me.
I went to my daughter's trivia night, which was 80s, and we are literally all singing every song at the top of our voice. Hair out winning? Absolutely not. You know, did we know the words? That was our main important component.
Yeah. Oh, you just make them up anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, I found out that he'd make up some more words. So I never knew that was that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So
but go and have fun, guys. Find something to have fun with.
Yeah, definitely. So tip number 2, and Sometimes this can be really difficult, particularly if you are in, stage 2 or 3 of that adrenal fatigue, because you're feeling that really tired. We want carbs, we want sugar, we want that lollies, we want that chocolate, we want that coffee to help get us through, because essentially it's meant to stimulate our adrenal glands and our adrenaline, give us that rush. But then, we feel 10 times worse a couple of hours later because our blood sugar is crashing as well.
So just while we're on this one, if you were going to suggest a switch for coffee or a switch for sugar or something like that at that point, because we're looking at the energy robber, the sitting there not having it component would be, I still want it. So rather than depriving ourselves, what could we possibly switch out? So you're a coffee addict like me, and you like your 3 cups of coffee a day type person. I didn't say cups a day. I didn't say that I had 3 shots in every coffee a day, which I could do. I used to in the corporate world. Then I fell pregnant. Apparently can't do that to a baby.
No, you don't want to do that to a baby. And don't think that I don't drink coffee, because I 100% drink coffee. And
I know you do.
Yeah, you've seen me. Because coffee for me as well is, I really associate that with downtime in my morning. So after I drop my kids off, I go get a coffee and I sit for 15 minutes.
So you're enjoying it too.
I'm enjoying it. I'm not on my phone. I have a conversation with other random people. I just like striking up conversations. So that's like, for me, my coffee, I associate that with downtime.
Perfect.
So you can as well, obviously, do that too. But, when we're having, 10 or so coffees, not so great during the day. Okay, so for caffeine, you can go for a decaf if you like it.
No.
I'll
switch out a herbal tea in there.
I think that's a little bit pointless, but anyway, some people still like the taste. The other thing is the alternative, a dandelion tea, which you can do it in a tea bag, but you can also buy granules as well, just from the supermarket, super easy. But you actually put milk or whatever milk alternative you have in it, and it's like having a coffee.
Okay, cool.
It still gives you that texture of that coffee as well. So the only thing with that, don't drink too many cups of coffee. Too many cups of dandelion tea. It'll give you a loose bowel if you do that. Just so you know.
Not the effect we're looking for.
Not the effect that you're looking for. So you really, when you are swapping that out, you only really want to be having 1 or 2 of those. Yep. And then, you can go for a straight herbal tea as well. And remembering that herbal tea will actually contribute to your overall water intake during the day too.
Perfect.
Yep. Alcohol, not only does it rob your energy, but it also depletes lots of nutrients within your body that helps with your stress response and your nervous system. So just be really mindful. Yeah, sure, have a couple of glasses of wine, but you need to be making sure that trying to avoid binge drinking and having alcohol-free days as well.
Yep. Perfect.
Yep. And then food allergies or intolerances is actually working in the opposite way, particularly in our gut. It's giving us that leaky gut, which is driving lots of inflammation and nutrient deficiencies for us. So just if a food is upsetting you, stop eating it. It's really that simple.
Don't eat it.
Just don't eat it. But if you're not sure what's upsetting you, then there are multiple tools that we can use to try and figure that out as well.
What about if we're doing a switch for sugar? Because I know both Millie and Uva have said donuts and lollies and chocolates are their favourite.
So the beautiful thing now with the internet, there's lots of different recipes that we can essentially trick our body into thinking that we're eating something bad.
Yep.
But it's actually a healthier version. So when it comes to fruit, yes, fruit is a better option, but it's still sugar and it's still processed exactly the same way as anything, like, if you were to eat a lolly.
Yep.
Okay, so we have to be mindful that if we are making like a bliss ball, which you could easily swap out for chocolate lollies, just make sure it either has some cocoa or some cacao in it. So both of those are really high in magnesium and it will help stabilize your blood sugar levels and also help with your stress response as well.
Cool.
Yeah. So, that this is a thing like, when we start using dates or any maple syrup, honey, it's still sugar, So when it comes back to it, portion control.
Perfect.
It's like you can still have those little snacks, but you have to portion control. Yeah, definitely. But
it's like, don't switch to dark chocolate and still eat a whole block of dark chocolate. It's not going to make a difference.
No, no. But you can switch to dark chocolate. So a really good snack in that afternoon time is to have a handful of nuts. So a 3-finger portion. So like this, 3 fingers, portion of nuts, mixed nuts, unsalted. Break up 2 pieces of 70% dark chocolate and above. That's your afternoon snack.
Perfect.
So you got protein in there. So protein will help keep you fuller for longer and stabilize your blood sugar levels, as well as healthy fats.
Perfect. See, there you go, guys. We can have an afternoon snack. It's just having the right one.
Yeah, definitely. Any kind of like bliss ball or a piece of fruit, or, even just like some cheese and crackers. Again, just watch how much you're actually eating. Yeah. Plain popcorn. There's heaps of different options that we can go for.
Perfect.
Awesome. So the next one, we want to eat a fresh whole food diet. I think when it comes to diet and the internet, there's so much information out there.
Isn't there?
Yeah. And what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another. But I think we can confuse ourselves.
Yes.
So we just really want to go back to basics when it comes to our diet. Good quality protein, fruit, vegetables, nuts, seeds, healthy fats. And that's it. Plenty of water.
Yes. Millie asked a really good question. When changing your diet, how long do you notice before you notice an improvement?
In relation to adrenals?
Yeah.
Yeah, specifically?
So. Yeah.
It depends you might, depending on how your diet is, if it's not so great, you essentially could go through a bit of a detox phase. If you're addicted to sugar, you can go through that kind of headache, more fatiguey, really phase while it's getting out of your system. But then and that can take up to a couple of weeks for people.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it really is an individual response, but after that you'll start to feel way better. And everybody, like, we know ourselves, when we eat better we feel better.
Exactly.
So that's the thing. You just need to persist in that detox phase. And it could be a couple of days for you. You might just notice like a small headache, but you really need to persist through that for it. So yeah, anywhere between like 2 and 2 weeks
is.
Yeah, I can't really give you an exact to the day. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I just realized this lovely device of mine is running out of battery. We've got about 15 minutes left.
Okay.
Or it might stop recording. The joys of power and technology today, guys. I'm sorry it's not 100% with us, but do make sure we eat well. And Pam, you'll be around in the group today to answer questions as well, won't you?
100%. I'll be floating around in the group for a lot longer than that if you need to. But yeah, definitely, if you have any questions, just ask. It's not a problem. And just touching on the variety of fruit and veg, just make sure that there's plenty of colour in there. So that colour will provide you with different nutrients as well.
Perfect.
Okay, tip number 4, get adequate sleep. So we want to be going to bed before 10 p.m. every night. And then we want to make sure that we're waking up at the same time. Doesn't matter if it's the weekend, doesn't matter if it's the weekday. We want to make sure that we are waking up the same time every single day to help with our circadian rhythm and our sleep patterns.
Okay.
Yeah, so this will really help us have a deeper sleep and not just that kind of low in and out that we kind of feel like we're sleeping, but we're not. We're aware of it, yeah.
And it's okay to have the occasional days like I will have in the next 2 Fridays where my train leaves at 5:30 in the morning versus the normal get up time, guys. It's not something you have to commit to. We need to commit to it, but there are going to be days that things need to change.
Oh, totally going to be days that needs to change. And sometimes you think, you know what, I don't want to get out of bed today, and that's totally fine. Have that extra sleep because, it's really important that you're listening to your body as well. So if you feel tired and exhausted and you need that extra sleep, then have the extra sleep. It's okay. Just rest. But we do want to make sure, again, try and avoid your phone, not having that light before bed as well. Try not to have coffee before bed.
It's a rare one-off that I drink coffee after 4 in the afternoon. But
in a really ideal world, we do want to make sure that our gut is is semi-empty as well. So we would eat 3 hours before we go to sleep, but I know that that is not always feasible. I mean, last night I played hockey and I didn't get home till 8:15 and I was hungry. So I was going to eat.
Yep.
So I ate. So it's fine as well. But yeah, there's just some simple things that we obviously want to try and do as well. Don't think, and I know, particularly if you're a parent, you put the kids to bed and you think, this is my downtime. I'm going to stay up until midnight.
Yes.
I get it, because sometimes I do that. But we really want to make sure we are limiting that as much as we can, because that is essentially stressing our body out more. And the last one, self-care. Self-care is, huge, and it is different for every single person. Could be reading a book, could be having a massage. It simply could just be going to have a coffee with a friend, exercising. It's so different for every single person. But the thing is to make sure that we don't have that guilt associated with actually doing something for ourselves. Because like you said, the more we look after ourselves, the better we are going to be showing up in our business, showing up as a parent, showing up as a partner. Like, there is obviously a purpose for this self-care. And don't think, oh yeah, I need to go away, every weekend or something along those lines. It literally can be an hour a week, something that just makes you happy.
Like I say to people, my trip to the hairdresser, my trip to the salon is my day.
Yes.
And if you want to talk to me during that day, I might hurt you.
That's exactly right.
But it's my time, and I don't take anyone with me to that.
Definitely not. So whatever.
I broke that habit recently. I let my husband and my daughter start coming to my hairdressing appointments. Like, why is this not as relaxing as it should be? Because
yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I take the kids to the gym and I think, oh God, I should have just not gone, because they're just like asking me all these questions and, all of this. And I just really wanted some time out. I just didn't want to think about anything. So
they don't notice that the headphones are in, do they?
Oh no, I don't.
I must say, with a 3-year-old, with Charlotte, when she was 3, we coming back to Victoria, so we're staying at my mum's house, and Charlotte would say, if mummy's talking really fast, if mummy's typing really fast, you don't talk to her. And that's what she told Mum. Mummy's typing really fast, do not talk to her.
Walk away.
But it used to mean that I was on a roll with words, and because do not get in my way when the words are going out through the fingers.
I know, and this is where boundaries come into play as well. Sometimes you think, oh, I didn't do that, or I've got a really good idea, and you want to write, things down super quickly. By all means, jot some notes, but
have an ideas pad, guys, that's there to write things down to come back to later.
Yeah. And that's something that I say as well, particularly with your sleep. When you start going over things in your mind and you're at that nighttime, you think, oh, I can't forget that.
Oh, yes.
Just simply have a notepad and a pen next to your bed, write it down, forget about it, go back to sleep.
Yep. Okay. Perfect.
So in clinic, whether, it's online or face-to-face, like I said, I use other tools, hair testing, allergy testing, blood tests, a range of different tools to try and help me establish where you are at with your health as well. And that's a really valuable tool for me, because sometimes we don't actually realize what else is going underneath the surface as well. It's like looking at your computer screen. You can see what's going on your computer screen, but you don't know what the mechanisms behind it are doing. So that's why I use some other tools within. So the most important thing with burnout is recognize where you're at, which I'm pretty sure we've covered. But if you have any questions in relation to that, then make sure you ask. And the other thing is, well, don't overwhelm yourself. Don't think, oh my God, I'm going to have to go throw all my food out and go shopping and start this whole new crazy diet. It's not that. It just pick 3 things that you want to change. It might be having better boundaries, drinking more water, and I don't know, something else. Pick 3 things.
Yep.
Master them.
Could be going for a walk at lunchtime around the block, guys. It could be just as simple as that.
Yep. Absolutely. Just to get you away, or to eat lunch away from your desk. But pick 3 things that you want to change right now. Master them so they've just become, second nature and habit. and then move on to your next three things.
Things, yeah.
Yeah.
Small steps at a time.
Yeah, small steps at a time. If you're going to make drastic changes, you will think, you know what, I'm sick of this. I'm not going to do it. It's way too hard. So just don't overwhelm yourself any more than you need to, and keep it as simple as possible.
Fantastic. If anyone's got any questions, pop them in. Pam, do you have a challenge running at the moment, correct? Or it just kicked off? Yep. Do you have another one coming up? Because that's a pretty awesome challenge to be in.
Yep. So I've just got my 10 hours a night sleep challenge, which I've just finished. However, you can actually still join up on my website at pamhird.com. Simple 3-day free challenge. Go in there, sign up, and then you can have access to all of that as well.
Yep. Perfect.
Alternatively, on my website, you can book in a 10-minute free chat to discuss how I can help you with your health as well.
Perfect. Guys, and that could be just the little conversation that you need to have with Pam to do that. Definitely follow Pam on social media. She's a long-term BBB member. Get in there and understand that changes to your health don't have to be a complete life overhaul to be effective. Small steps are more sustainable. We're more likely to keep them. Just the same with our business. Small tweaks to our business will see us move forward. Pam, I really enjoyed today's session. Thank you for joining us.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Look, I think it's all really important to know, guys, that we all still make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Everything along the lines, we will still make mistakes, but try and give yourself those boundaries. Try and relax and try and share information with yourself over the little timing, and give yourself that moment. Even if it is like literally locking the door so no one can get into the bathroom while you're having a shower.
Yeah.
All little steps, but they make a massively big difference to your life. Okay, so for the update of what's happening in the world of business, we are back with our skills webinars for most of now from September to November. We have Stephen Brown joining us next week, and Stephen's actually going to look at franchising Q&A. So if you are looking to franchise your business or you're looking to become a franchisee, this is the time to ask the guy who charges heaps of money all your questions about legally what you can do with franchises. He's an IP expert. He is literally opening up the book to come and talk to us on the 27th about franchising Q&A stuff. Then the week after that, we have Laura from Profit First Australia coming to join us to talk about why making profit in business is important and why we should be putting profit first before everything else, making sure that we do have some profit happening within our business. The system is amazing. Laura knows her stuff. Make sure that you come in and join us for those ones. Update wise, in relation to everything else we have running, the business ball is coming up on December 6th, which means it gives you the chance as business owners to get together and have that Christmas party, that office party that we used to have. We've got some pretty big announcements, but we have secured Kate Carnell, who's the Small Business and Family Ombudsman. There's lots of words that go into her title, but the Ombudsman for Small Business. She's actually going to be there at the night, allowing us to talk about small business. But this is not a pitch fest about business. This is an evening where we actually get together and celebrate what we do. But Kate thought that BBB was a pretty awesome community, and you guys were also great that she'd like to come and meet you all.
I'm going to try and get there for that.
Yay! It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this. I've got How to Write a Media Release happening on next Friday in Melbourne. There's 5 spots left in that one if anyone wants to come along, and literally we're going to go through the formula of writing a press release so that you can put your story out in front of the media, which Pam, by the way, you should be doing if you're not already. Because all journalists will go, yeah, well, I don't want them to tell me not to drink coffee or not to do this, but I would like to know how to deal with it in a way, so that burnout stuff, but in the real format. Seriously, you've got the opportunity to be real about this sort of stuff when it comes to press. So please
Definitely
look at doing that. So can't help it, guys. What else is coming up? Clive's got a workshop in October on identifying your ideal customer persona. So actually taking you through that process and knowing who you want to work with, because that can cause you a hell of a lot of stress if you're working with the wrong client. So, help you along your journey with Pam. And apart from that, I just think there's a lot of activity happening inside the group at the moment. So go and say hi to everyone, have a chat, see how things are going. And for my Marketing Circle members, I will see you very, very shortly when we start talking about how to use those logo animations that we've created this week to go into your videos and those sorts of things. So And for those of you who don't know what the Marketing Circle is, it's a membership site, VIP, where you get to work with me on a group level and come and talk all things marketing. And we do fun stuff and do all that sort of stuff. It's a bit of fun. Okay, guys, I think that's a wrap. It's been great for those of you who attended the Small Business Skills Summit. The replay access is still available. Make sure you go in and ask questions of our presenters there as well. Pam, once again, thank you for joining me. Guys, I cannot stress enough how much you should touch base with this lady. She is honestly the most realistic person I come to when we talk about adrenals and burnout.
Thank you. Thanks.
And that makes it a really huge thing. And I've spoken to lots of people about this topic in particular, because they all look at me and go, oh my God, you really need to do this. But it's also about having a realistic approach to it, because a life-changing approach no one commits to. A realistic step-by-step life-changing approach you commit to. So take the opportunity to have a chat with Pam and take the challenge. It was awesome.
Definitely take the challenge.
Okay.
All right.
Pam, thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.